Mr. Speaker, the hour is very late, and I can tell by looking at our colleagues we're all very exhausted. But there are some things that need to be said, and I would like to focus my remarks on the issue of judgment. I'm going to head down the road to Lexington tonight, if we ever get out of here, for my son's graduation, and tomorrow a good many of these young men and women will take an oath, similar to the oath I took some 35 years ago on the plains at VMI. This is what they'll say. I solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservations, this is important, or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties, underline duties, duties of the office upon which I am about to enter, so help me God. It is duty that is the focus of my remarks. And for a military officer, it's a tough, tough thing. There were times in my 28 years in the service where my chain of command, and indeed sometimes my commander-in-chief, would issue orders and directives that I did not agree with. And in some cases, I found morally repugnant. Duty. It was my duty to follow the orders and the directives and the regulations and the policy of my leaders. We in the military surrender certain rights all of us as civilians take for granted every day. One of them is the First Amendment. We don't get to say what we want to say anytime we want to say it, and for whatever reason might come to mind that we will say it. We must subordinate that, even if we believe in our minds it is the, quote, truth, unquote. We are required to follow the regulations, directives, and policies of our leaders. And when we find it, or when we find ourselves in a place we can no longer do that, then we resign our station, we hang up our uniform, we put on our civilian garb, and we speak our mind. That is what we do. In the directives that guide the military, the bottom line is this. While serving on active duty, certain political activities and types of speech are prohibited. Service members must refrain from participating in the activity while in uniform or wearing the official insignia that may be prejudicial to the performance of military government duties, or is likely to bring discredit on the armed forces. In addition, some activities that could be viewed as associating the armed forces directly or indirectly with partisan political causes or candidates. There are some specifics, the gentleman from Prince William alluded to one, that are specifically prohibited of us in uniform. And one of them that is specifically prohibited is participation in any radio, television, or other program or group discussion as an advocate for or against a partisan party, political party, comma, candidate, comma, or cause. Very clear. It is, ladies and gentlemen of this honorable body, the duty of an officer to follow those directives. And when an officer elects of his or her own volition to set that duty aside, however well intended and however deeply held, they are breaking their duty, and in doing so, exercising bad judgment, which brings me to this. For me, this is a case of bad judgment. And when in fact people have bad judgment, it causes me to question whether they should be judges. And so for me, it's not about fear and bigotry and ignorance and so forth. It is very definitely about duty. And so, Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry that we're at this place. It's a hard thing to do, I know. But for this old soldier, these things matter.
The gentleman from